this is the oral argument, so maybe they'll, I mean, supposedly they've had sense in the past, but who knows, it's going to be another razor-thin decision between, you know, right and wrong.
I don't see how you can tell the Florida Supreme Court that they don't have the right to decide the issue within the realms of their state. I don't understand that. Now, if they're going to say you rewrote the law, that they rewrite federal law, that's when the Supreme Court becomes an issue. If they rewrote Florida law, it would seem to me that they have the right to rewrite Florida law because they're the Supreme Court. I don't see what's the dilemma with that. And the way they rewrote it is saying that all counties who have undervotes needs to be taken. In other words, the 45,000 total is not just the 45,000 total is not just Democratic counties. It's about 20,000 votes that come from Republican counties. That's the fairest approach at it I can see in my. I don't see how. Really don't see how, man. It's kind of blatant, and it's kind of disrespectful to the will of the people.
So is it mainly like disbelief that you feel, or fear, or like?
No, it's not fear.
Like, how would you describe?
I couldn't say fear. There's no possible way you can be afraid of living in America, aside from the fact that we don't have adequate security for nuclear protection. In other words, nuclear war, things like that. So that's the only fear I have, considering Americans don't have a place to go on average. And the places we do have to go are inadequate. They were designed for conventional warfare. They wasn't designed for all-out nuclear warfare. I think if they're going to assign people to go for places to vote, they need to assign people places to go in the event of a national disaster. That should be on the floor. I voted for Governor Bush because I believe his foreign policy techniques is with the people he will surround himself with will be a little bit more beneficial to the world and America. But I didn't vote for him to blatantly discard votes. I really didn't. It's obvious Al Gore is almost up by now about 500,000 votes. I really don't think the vice president would have had any chance or any option. In other words, he shouldn't be doing this if he wasn't up in the national vote. If you're up in the national vote and the margin of error was 1,700, something like that, that 1,700 was a margin of error under Florida law that demanded a recount regardless if there was a discrepancy or not. As I said, you don't go from 1,700 to 300 and then say, why are you recounting the vote? I mean, like I said, I think that's just blatant.
So you don't regret voting for Bush, though, do you?
Well, I wouldn't say regret. I'll just say I'm just very surprised that neither of these candidates can just take it on the chin and say, I lost. If you lost, you're lost. It happens.
Well, the thing is, they have the ability to appeal all this, so they will. I mean, it's a presidential race, and both of them feel entitled to win.
Yeah.
So, the war of the egos.
Well, yeah, no, not really. I think the vice president has more leverage for the argument because he's up 500,000 votes as far as the popular vote is concerned. Plus, there was an obvious discrepancy as far as the undervotes are concerned. There was an obvious problem. It's not as if there's no problem, or this is just some made-up, discrepancy. This actually happened. So if this actually happened, there's only one way to sort it out, which is to count the votes. I can't see how every time you're ready to count the votes and get a total, that it's stopped by the Republican Party. They go out of their way to stop it before the final results can come. Because I honestly believe, if anything, if anyone's afraid, it's not me, it's the Republican Party. That's where the fears lies. That's the only thing I can see from it. Because I don't see how, if you know you won this election, how you can fear a proper vote count of all the people who voted. I don't see how, from a common sense standpoint, I don't really see how you can be afraid, if anything, like you said, who's afraid? It's not me. I think it's the Republican Party. That they spend $100 million in vain.
But on lawyers and all that?
No, on the campaign alone.
Yeah, there's a lot of, did you see the discrepancy between how much each side is paying for lawyers? Like, a lot of the
that's business. That's business. I really wouldn't get into that as far as a surprise amazement. I mean, no matter if you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, and if you're a lawyer, you need one, especially in cases such as this, dealing with legislative concerns, constitutional concerns, I mean, you're gonna have to pay. That's not the issue. But the issue I thought was interesting in the campaign was that the Bush campaign was constantly talking about campaign finance and the way they would like to reform it, and the way that Al Gore went to Buddhist temples and things of that nature. In other words, demoralizing his character as far as the way Democrats deal with raising funds, the state dinners, things of that nature. And they raised the most money in any presidential campaign in history.
From corporations and oil companies.
I mean, but
polluters
I don't see really how you can say, look at the way you're raising money and then turn around and have the most money. That's astonishing. I mean, that's the most astonishing. Very astonishing. Very astonishing. Very, very, very.
Do you normally vote Republican?
No, I don't normally. I normally vote who is the best person for the position.
And you thought that it was a strong ticket in the event of a of a conflict with other countries?
Yes.
Maybe because it's a Cheney too. You thought.
Well,
Cheney
that's the reason. It's not really Governor Bush. I really don't think that he is capable. I think he's capable, but I really, that's not. I'm worried about his father. I voted for his father in '92 because of the way he handled the situation with the military was involved, which is the Gulf War. It was done very swiftly, very effectively. The Colin Powells, the Condoleezza Rices, these kinds of people, they know what they're doing. They've been involved with that. Just like you said, Dick Cheney, he's former Secretary of Defense, things like that. I just happen to feel a little bit more secure with them as far as managing that situation. You know what I mean? Voting for president is not voting for somebody who wants to raise the minimum wage $1 over the next 2 years.
How come you're camping out on this side of the Supreme Court?
This is the bar line, the Supreme Court bar line.
The bar line?
Members of the Supreme Court bar, if you're admitted to practice before the court, you
get special treatment, basically.
You actually
you're admitted to practice over there?
Right.
Oh, good job then.
Well, you pay $100 and get 2 sponsors. It's not all that.
Okay.
You know.
But there has to be a track record of some sort of accomplishment.
Well, you have to be. You have to have been licensed to practice before the highest court of the state in which you're admitted for 3 years. Basically, that's what it comes down to.
So you're both lawyers, or what?
Yeah, there will be
guilty
others here, as there was 10 days ago.
Wow. When do you expect them to be showing up? About 5 o'clock for the morning roll call?
Well, I was here 10 days ago at 1:30. I was number 10 in line. By 4 o'clock a.m. there was about 35 people, and by about 5 o'clock there was about 75 to 90 people, which is about the limit that they're going to take if they do it the same way.
This is the most important day in the history of the damn planet Earth. I mean,
maybe a little hyperbolic, but it's certainly important.
Well, it is the most important. I mean, regardless. I mean, this is verdict city. In other words, we call this place justice. This is the place called justice in its finest form. This is the word. This is the motto of justice. Let's see if it's served. Very simple. I mean, it's very interesting.
So are you in line on the other side to get in?
Yeah. And I don't mean served as far as the interests of politicians. I mean served as far as the interests of people. You've got 400,000 votes in the popular margin for Mr. Gore. You've got him up 267 to 246. You've got obvious discrepancy, coincidentally, in Democratic counties in the state where his brother is governor. This is what I mean by this is the model.
This guy voted for Bush too. And
I voted for him, but I didn't vote for this man to cheat. And I'll just be very blatant with it. I didn't vote for that. I didn't vote for Katherine Harris to say, even though she sees that these votes should be added to the certified ballot. No, I'm not doing it. No, I didn't vote for that. That's blatant.
Are you from Florida?
No, I'm from New York.
Came down from New York.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm from New York. I didn't vote for that. No, I did not. I didn't vote for the fact that the Florida Supreme Court, like I was telling her, if you're going to talk about changing the law, the Supreme Court talking about they changing the law. They're not changing the law. And if anyone has the power to change the law, it should be the Florida Supreme Court as far as the law of Florida is concerned. That's the Supreme Court. They should be able to change that law, which is the will of the people should be over the law in this case. There are certain kinds of cases. That's the discrepancy.
What do you all think as lawyers of what he's saying?
I know you guys got doozies in your head. Doozies. I wonder if you got that contract. That's some good money they paying out there. Do you know any of the attorneys that are representing Gore-Bush?
I don't know him personally. I know I've talked to one of them, but I don't know him personally. You know, it's hard to predict what's going to happen. I have a pretty cynical view as to what this court's going to do.